and welcome to today's International News. I am your host, and today is April 1st, 2020. And today, our topics will be an April Fool's joke may land you in jail. Also, in professional sports, players take a pay cut. Vietnam is to enforce a 15-day nationwide lockdown. Olympic timetable update. South Korea loses 53,000 jobs in hospitality. And Thai tells Malaysia woman to wear makeup. Stay with me and we'll go over all these topics and give you a chance to leave your input. In our first story, Laos puts the brakes on April Fools during the COVID-19 pandemic. Laos has announced that posting or sharing April Fool's Day jokes about COVID-19 is now punishable by law. According to the Mass Media Department, Media Laos, anyone found posting or sharing April Fool's Day jokes regarding COVID-19 will face up to 3 years imprisonment and a fine of up to 20 million baht, approximately 2,000 US dollars. The move comes as a number of nations throughout Southeast Asia have chosen to heavily enforce such regulations. The government of Thailand said yesterday in a Twitter post that April Fool's Day pranks about the virus will be punishable by law, carrying the sentence of up to 5 years imprisonment. As people rely on the internet and social media for viral information regarding the new coronavirus, there are fears that April Fool's pranks might encourage the spread of misinformation. So I'm going to stop there for a minute, but I would like to know your input. What do you think? Do you think it's funny to joke about the virus or not? And while we're on the topic of April Fool's Day, what was the prank that you pulled on somebody that they did not like, or that somebody pulled on you that you really did not like? Personally, myself, I think if you're going to joke about a virus, this could result in medical profession's waste of time, or even it could even be a police officer or somebody else. So it's not a good idea because you also can cause fear or scare people in your own family. So if you want to joke about something, joke about it, but don't do something that can land you in jail. Moving on to sports, I want to talk about the Namding's coach and players take a pay cut during that pandemic. Now, this is not unusual for Vietnam or Korea national teams during events, whether it's a mudslide, big earthquake, or such. They have taken pay cuts and for their nation and usually donated salaries to whatever charity at the time. But since this is current, I wanted to read about it going up. So, Hanoi, the Nam Ding team have agreed to take a salary cut as the V-League for 2020 is delayed, and definitely due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the decision reached during a meeting of the club on Tuesday, all the members will receive a 25% pay cut. All members of the training board, except fitness specialists, Neil Haki, and married players will be allowed to take a break and return to their families and practice at home starting from March 31st. Meanwhile, young unmarried players will stay at the team headquarters, according to the Nam Ding Provincial Professional Football Training Center. They are strictly forbidden from going out and will train with Haki. Now, for my listeners, how has the sudden halt of sporting events affected you? March Madness, anyone? Are Dream Teams still ongoing? Or what about your kids that, they don't have that baseball, football, soccer? What are you doing with them? How are you getting them their daily exercise? Or what are you doing with the extra free time you have? I would be interested to know. And in addition, Are any national teams, since your NHL, NBA, and such, since they are closed down where you live, what are your teams doing to perhaps help the community? Again, leave your comments below. Moving on to Vietnam national news. Vietnam, kind of like some parts of California, New York, and other countries and cities across the world, has announced a 15-day lockdown. This will take place from April 1st to April 15th. So let's read what it says. Vietnam will begin nationwide social distancing within 15 days, starting in 0 on April 1st, with the principle of every household, village, commune, district, and province going into self-isolation according to the latest initiative signed by the Prime Minister. Now, people still can go out for food, medical supplies, and whatnot, as it will go into that. But yeah, basically every airplane has been shut down throughout the whole country. You can't fly in, can't fly out. There are no buses going between cities. The trains are actually shut down on top of that. So don't think you're going to be traveling around. And now and on top of that, some rules are going into effect is if you don't wear a mask, so that's a minimum $200,000 fine, which that's like $10. On the other hand, other fines are more steep, like Vietnam actually officially closed down its beaches in Nha Trang. And it's a 50, actually no, it's $100 fine if, $2 million, $100 fine if, because they taped the whole thing off. So if you go on it, you expect to be fine. And this kind of brings me up because somebody on Facebook today that lives there, they're like, can I go on the beach today? Can I be my special snowflake? I want the attention. And like everybody was just like yelling at him, like, well, why can't you just follow the law? So don't be a special snowflake. Do your job, do your duty, show you love for your country, protect the people around you. Because yeah, you could be a special snowflake. You can go out there and get sick, and catch a virus, come home, and then you can catch your family sick. Why do you have to do that? That is just dumb. Okay, just be safe. and, and to follow the rules. The rules aren't always there to make you happy, but in most cases they are there to try to protect you. Which brings me to my question for you guys is, eh, so my question is how are you handling being locked down? Or how would you handle being locked down? Please leave your comments below. Moving on, we're going to talk about the Olympics. Yesterday we covered how the Olympics were rescheduled to later this year. Well, actually, I think it's next year. But now there's going to be some more strange things that happen. The Winter Olympics are scheduled 6 months after the Summer Olympics. Well, let's read more about it. Since 1994, the four biggest continental sports games have been held in the past on even number years. The Summer Olympics and UEFA Eurons 1 year, and the FIFA World Cup and the Winter Olympics 2 years later. And none of these events have held on to an odd number year for more than a century, since 1896. Wow. And so international sports fans have been eagerly waiting for the Euro 2020 for the Tokyo Olympic Games. So, this article goes about this big change, and yes, the Olympics were changed only twice for the World War I, World War II. But here's my question, because the Olympics are moving from 2020 to 2021. But as you know, athletes get older and older, and who's good now may not be good a year later. So what do you think about those athletes who were trained and they're already prepared, they had their daily regimen, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, sorry, you can't go. Or better yet, maybe they age out. So that's why I thought the whole thing is a little debatable. So Livy, tell me about what you think about this. And if it surprised you if the Olympics are postponed, or maybe you should think they should stay on track. Okay, so now moving on to the economy of South Korea. 53,000 jobs were lost in hospitality industry. Now, I bring this up because many countries are actually hospitality based. That's like their biggest thing, whether it's South Korea, Vietnam, and for example, when I lived on Jeju, they basically all the Chinese would bring in these boats, and the Chinese would just spend. Other countries like Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, they would bring all these Chinese in, and they would spend to improve the economy. Later, though, they got angry when the Chinese only bought from other Chinese businesses and kind of left their countries poor. But let's read about what is happening. Because if you remember yesterday, Korea is used for the Incheon airport having 200,000 people coming through the airport every day. Now they're reporting only 7,000 people. That's 7,000 people for hotel business, for restaurants, for transportation, whatever, taxi drivers. So let's get into this. Some 163,000 jobs were created in February compared to earlier, the lowest increase since the government started tallying such statistics in 2009. The average job growth ranged from just 300,000 to 500,000 a month. And so the Ministry of Employment and Labor on Tuesday announced that for the first employment figures since January 20th, when the first coronavirus infections were confirmed in Korea. Hardest hit were the hospitality sectors with a loss of 53,000 jobs, or 4.2% on a year as the coronavirus epidemic kept people at home. So the epidemic also hurt business facility management, which includes travel agencies, rental car companies, cleaning services, security companies, call centers. They lost 12,000 jobs, or 1%. So my point is, the travel hospitality business employs a lot of people, and it doesn't matter if it's Korea, if it's Vietnam, if it's America, if it's Europe. So what are these people going to do now? You, what will they do? Are they waiting for the places to reopen? Are they going to be retrained? Are they where would they go? I mean, even if this whole society closed down, you don't have all these kind of jobs in another field. So if you are one of those workers, what are you going to do, or what are you doing, or what will you do if this happens to you? How will you bring in more income in the future? I would love to hear your thoughts, and please leave your comments below. I also wanted to bring up one more thing about this minor article, but it's still about Korea. In Korea, unless you're actually part of the national health plan, you could you could not get face mask if you were a tourist or if you were an international student and whatnot. But because of this hiccup, the Seoul government actually has passed a law, and they will hand out face masks to all the international students and tourists there. If you need to get a face mask, you should call 114 in Korea. That's their national hotline, and they will direct you where you can get your free face mask. Okay. Most likely the most controversial article of the day. This was written in a Thailand newspaper. Uh, And as you know, people are at home, and in America, the newspapers are reporting there's going to be a baby boom in December, January, because couples are home. They're going to have some action and produce kids. Well, Thailand wrote this about the Malaysian people. Stop nagging, use makeup. Malaysia controvert virus advice to women. So, Kuala Lumpur coronavirus lockdown advice issued by Malaysia that urges women to dress up at home to avoid nagging their husband sparked a sexism row on Tuesday, with the crisis saying it promotes gender stereotypes. In a series of online posters with the hashtag Women Prevent Convoy 19, Malaysian Women Affairs Ministry issued advice on how to avoid domestic conflicts during this partial lockdown, which began on March 18th. Now, so one of the campaign posters depicted men sitting on the sofa and asked women to refrain from being sarcastic if they need help with the household chores. Avoid nagging your husband, another poster said, attempting to inject humor by using his voice similar and anime characters. Okay, but so this article goes on, look pretty for your husband. And personally, it would, I don't know. If the guy is buying the makeup, then wear it. Makeup makes a woman feel happy when she's attention too, I guess. Who cares? People can have tensions, and if they want to fight over it, then whatever. But if you love your family, then do what you can for your family. But so my question is, how are you keeping your tensions low without your housemates, people home? Are you putting on makeup? Are you wearing your like nice formal dresses? I don't know. Are you playing games together? What are you doing? I don't know. But yeah, so this was a funny article. So please leave your comments below, and maybe we'll tune in tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe.